Today we're going to talk a little bit about MicroStrategy. We'll talk a little bit about coin. We'll look at some of our Bitcoin miners, especially IREN, since they've got some big news coming up here tomorrow. We'll take a peek at Bitcoin, perhaps Ethereum. I'll take a look at a couple of plays that I've been in, as well as some that I am watching now. One that took off today that I wanted to make a video about this morning. In fact, I did record that video, but the internet was just awful this morning. I was unable to upload anything. Anyways, we're gonna get right into MicroStrategy here. So MicroStrategy, we got up 2.16% today. If you're in MSTX, that's 4.18%. Usually you'd feel pretty good about that. But looking at this doji candle on MicroStrategy today, I don't really like this at all. It feels like the market, and it's falling in after hours here. You can see MicroStrategy is looking like it's pretty happy where it is right now, which does not bode well for my MSTX shares that are down about 40%. So we're hanging out, making dojis just below the 50-day moving average, which is this orange one right here. That's really unfortunate. That's not what we want to see. That's not where we want to be. So right now, honestly, I'm looking at potentially, if Bitcoin can't get back above $100,000, if MicroStrategy can't get above the 50 and 30-day moving averages here, I'm looking at potentially the 100-day moving average, which is this yellow line here, which is 298. Now that's only a 10% dip from where we are right now. So like that's it, just about 10%, which isn't the worst thing that's ever happened. I mean, it's definitely moved more than that in a single day before. But I think that's probably where we're going to see it hit. And if Bitcoin is holding strong, we may see a bounce off that 100-day moving average. And that would be great. And much like the first time we touched the 50-day moving average back here on December 19th, and there was that pretty nice bounce off of that, I think we'd expect something like that. But in this case, it might only come up to like 350, maybe 360, 370, like 400 at like the highest I would expect, unless Bitcoin's doing something really amazing. And that is what I'm expecting here. And that is, again, I'm still looking at this fractal here. That is right there. I'll make it a little brighter real quick. Let's go ahead and brighten that up. Okay. This is the fractal from the 2021 cycle where, it peaked out much in a similar fashion like we did here back in November. We came down and we never made a high above this cluster here in that period of time back in the 2021 cycle. In that case, again, like I said, if it does a similar thing to this fractal, the highest thing we can expect is about $400 on this thing, which would be let me go ahead and turn that off, which would be a move up from current prices of about 19%. So about a 19% gain from where we currently are, unless Bitcoin does something extraordinary, hits that $200,000 mark, and MicroStrategy cannot be ignored in that respect, and it goes higher and higher and higher. Then of course it could go higher. But if we're getting what everyone is saying, like $150,000 or something, maybe 170, I think maybe 450 on a good day. We might see it peak out, like give us a wick up to like 440 or so, which is just 30% from where we are right now. So I think like the multi-bagger gains on MicroStrategy this cycle are likely done. I don't think you're going to get hundreds of percent up from here on out on MicroStrategy. It's much more likely that you're going to get a little bit of a peak up, 20-30%, and then followed by the dip that'll take us back into the hundreds, the low 200s, maybe mid 100s during the bear cycle. Now, that doesn't mean that all is lost. It doesn't mean that MicroStrategy is not something to look at, not something to track and pay attention to. It just means that unless Bitcoin does something extraordinary, exceeds expectations, don't really expect MicroStrategy to go back and test 544 again for a number of years, unless we get something extraordinary out of it. Okay. All right, let's go take a look at coin. Where's coin? Where did I got that? I got it like way down here. Hold on. Here we go. Coin. All right, coin. Now, I think coin has a little more potential right now than MicroStrategy. Well, let me see actually first. Let me do a quick. No, about the same. Maybe 25, 50, 40% max. Unless we get something extraordinary out of the altcoin season. Now, the reason I think coin could potentially do slightly better than MicroStrategy for the tail end of this cycle is because it's not pinned solely to Bitcoin. It is the entire crypto market. They're also the sole steward of the Bitcoin for all of the US-based ETFs. We also don't know where the US government, if they decide to do a reserve, is going to steward their coins. Will it be with Coinbase? Will it be with Crypto.com? Will it be across several of them? Will Ripple have something to do with any of this? I know that they're not an exchange or anything, but I mean, Brad Garlinghouse has been talking to Trump frequently. Who knows what kind of deals they might be working on here, which is one of the reasons I'm back into XRP recently, especially off that big dip recently, which I have mentioned and will mention again going forward. Anyways, I like coin a little bit better than MicroStrategy because we are above that 50-day moving average, which is at 277, and we're holding above that now. So we close the candle above that. If we can open tomorrow above it and hold above it all day long, I'm feeling pretty confident about coin doing a bit of a move up from where we currently are. Okay, because it's not completely solely tied to Bitcoin. You can see that on the BX Trender, we got a lighter red on that histogram there. You can see that the stochastics are getting all wispy, getting ready to turn yellow on green. That's all really good stuff. Let's see how MicroStrategy compared to that specifically. Where's MicroStrategy? There it is. MicroStrategy also, it's got a yellow, not a green, though that one's still wide open, but also a light red on the BX Trender. So if we can get up and above these three moving averages right here on MicroStrategy, I'm feeling very bullish up to, the top of this range here, potentially like $400, maybe slightly above $400 on MicroStrategy, and that'd be pretty exciting. And then from there, I'd probably be taking my profit and walking away from that until if I feel like it's hit lows. All right, let's talk about IREN, not CoreZ. IREN. IREN has earnings tomorrow. Oh, no, not tomorrow. Wednesday. Excuse me. Wednesday. IREN has earnings Wednesday. It's been charging up off of those earnings. We've been solidly trading above the 50-day moving average here for 3 days now, completely disconnected, giving us some gaps in our candles. Not huge gaps, but, gaps, not in the wicks, but between the bodies, gaps between the bodies. We hit the top of this envelope here, which is the dotted line. That's all well and good. We've got the stochastics going straight up, looking wide open. We've got the BX Trender making larger and larger lime green bars on the histogram. We got a green dot. We're headed straight up on that one as well. So right now, my only obstacle is about 1338. That's my only obstacle on this one right now, about 1338. Now we did cross above. Now this is important. We crossed above this descending trend line right here today, and we closed above it. If we can open and close above it tomorrow, and we get a profitable earnings out of IREN on Wednesday, which is very possible. We know that they mine more efficiently than CleanSpark, okay, but not by a lot, but more efficiently. So they are mining Bitcoin for like $30,000, which is great. They have a hash rate not quite up to CleanSpark, but close, meaning they're mining a similar amount of Bitcoin as CleanSpark every single month. They're selling it every month, so they're locking in that profit with a similar efficiency. So we're pretty certain they're going to be profitable. Now let's see, CleanSpark, when they became profitable, we saw a 20 some odd % day. Now it didn't stay at 20, it bled down to 10, but right now if we got 20%, we'd be trading at $15.46. Now, I think IREN often gets a little bit more of a boost, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing hit like 25 or even 30%. So we're talking about $16 up to potentially even like $16.60, maybe $17. We hit $16.50, $17. I'm going to take some of my profits on IREN. Not all of them, but I'm going to take some of my profits on IREN there, and then I will return to waiting to see if it's going to come back down and test like 13 or 12 again, and maybe start accumulating again somewhere around like $12.50, $11 on IREN, just like I did on the way down back here. I really should have gotten out when it met 1578 there and then started to fail, but I did not. And then I started waiting for this cup, and this cup started getting crazy. Now this cup is, it came so close to being outside of the realm of that cup, but now we're breaking the handle now. Now, arguably, I'm not going to take all my profits on IREN. I'll probably sell like a third or something, take some profit, get my cost basis off the table. But if this cup plays out, let's see here. If this cup on this thing plays out, we're looking at a $24 IREN, okay? We're looking at a $24 IREN if this cup plays out. Basically, I want to see it get back up above $16, show strength, and it shows strength. We're heading higher. And why would I sell any at this point in that respect? Because I've been holding on to it for a while. I'm up over almost 100% now, and I think it's time to take my original cost basis out when I get up to like 200%. I'll take my original cost basis out, let the rest ride, because I don't like losing money. That's why. That's all. So IREN, I like the earnings is coming up. I like that CleanSpark was profitable. I expect them to be because they are mining with a similar amount of hash and they are more efficient than CleanSpark, and they have been locking in those gains this whole time. So by selling their Bitcoin. So I think IREN has a bright future for this week specifically. Okay. Whew. All right. Now let's take a look at some of these other plays. Well, first of all, let's peek at Bitcoin. Let's take a peek at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is doing a whole lot of nothing. It's really boring, getting squished between the 150-day moving averages. Honestly, I kind of hate this because if it closes beneath the 100, you better say hello to the 80s. And if it breaks above the 50-day moving average, well, then we can say hello again to the 100s. So yeah, this is really indecisive and gross and ugly. I don't like that candle at all. But what I do like is the BX trender is turning light red down here. You can see it's turning light red and getting smaller. That's a good sign. That means that momentum is turning towards the upside. You also see the stochastic here. The fast is yellow. The slow is not quite green, but it is getting tighter. And when it turns, just like it did back here on January 14th, when it goes from purple to green, yeah, this thing went from, we did a move from about 94,000 all the way up to that 109,000. This time we'd be starting at 97,000, so maybe we'll hit 115. Who knows? Maybe 120 when this thing turns green again. So we'll watch that very, very carefully as well. Quick peek at Ethereum as well. Ethereum had a decent day. Not as good as Sui there. Sui did great. I did buy. Oh yeah, full disclosure. I did buy some Sui. Sui hit my it hit the 618 and it keeps bouncing off the 618. It's bounced off at 1, 2, 3, like four, this is like the fourth time it's touched it in just like the last 2 weeks. So I decided that around this 618 level at around $3 that I think I got in at $2.99 back in. I only bought like 50. I'm not buying a whole bunch. Just on the off chance that Sui does what Solana did last cycle, where it goes from like $3 to $100. That's the only reason I bought 50 Sui. I might grab 100 Sui at some, another 50 here if it proves that it's going to show some strength. But I just started buying a little bit of Sui. Anyways, back to Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum, it's on the lows right now. I don't really expect it to go a whole lot lower. I am waiting for Ethereum. Like, there's got to be a bid on Ethereum at some point. We're waiting for that bid. I'm a little bit early. You can see things are still kind of looking grim on Ethereum, but I do like that we're getting some wicks on bottom, and I'm getting some green action out of this thing, and the BX trender is looking like it's ready to flip around on that as well. Also, Dogecoin is getting back down below the price where I sold it last time. Also look at here on this. This is a fib retracement. It came down and touched the 786 back here about a week ago. All right, touched the 786 about a week ago. And once it starts closing candles above the 618, which is right here at 26.5 cents, once it starts doing that, I'm going to be looking for it to go back up to that 40-50 cent range. I'm looking forward to do a double up one more time for Dogecoin. So that is on my radar again as well. Let's see, anything else I want to talk about? I did buy some XRP. I bought a few hundred XRP after I saw that this big wick down here came all the way down in between the 618 and the 786 and then shot right back above the 382 and is holding above the 382. I decided around 245, 250 to buy some XRP. So XRP is looking like it's basing out here and could potentially go a bit higher. We're looking at it to go back up into like the 280, maybe $3 range again. I'm not so certain exactly where I think it's going to go because it's already like really ran so much, and I'm seeing potential for a head and shoulders in here where it could come all the way back down to like 80 cents. So I didn't buy too many. But I do have the BX trender is trending up. The stochastics, I got yellow. Don't quite have green, but I do have yellow. So I am watching that closely, and I did buy a little bit of that as well. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Okay, simply for entertainment purposes. All right, so Here's the play I wanted to bring to you this morning, and I really wish my internet was working because I did play this today and I made a decent amount of money. This is Super Micro Computer. So recently they were accused of committing accounting fraud. There were also some other potential crimes floated that they may or may not have done. And it looks like a lot of that is starting to get cleared up now and is no longer a factor on the stock after it got beaten down quite dramatically. If we come all the way down here, it got beat down. It was up at $123, which before the split was $1,240 up there at the top. And it got beat down all the way down to $17. It's currently trading at 43. This morning, I bought in at 39. And I already closed out that position because it went up a considerable amount, but I don't think it's done yet. We got earnings. If earnings come in good, after earnings, I might go long on Super Micro Computer again. Once earnings is over, it almost went up to my red line here. This is where I was planning to get out, but I decided to get out before tomorrow because this thing is volatile. It's up 17%. I wouldn't be surprised if it gave it back down to 39 tomorrow. We'll see. It basically anywhere between like 36.50 and 40, $40, I'm interested in going up to about $46, $47, all the way up to the 200-day moving average at about $54. That's where I think we're really going to hit some significant resistance. But you see that we crossed the 50 and 100 with volume. That is big. That is big news for Super Micro Computer. I think there is a bigger move on the horizon. I think I need to get my hands maybe on some shares, or maybe I'll start selling some cash secured puts, start getting the income machine running on this thing, and start making some income machine videos again. It's been a little while. I haven't really been doing too many cash secured puts. I've been doing some covered calls that have mixed success. My micro strategy when I bought into MSTX kind of really ruined a lot of the capital that I had for cash secured puts. So I'm a little bit waiting and looking for my opportunities to be able to do decent cash secured puts again. And SMCI might fit the bill for that, so I could start running some more income machine videos. But yeah, basically I like this one. If we go down to like a 2 hour, you can see it flipped from red to green here. That's a good sign. We might come back down again, we might come back to test at 36.50, in which case I would go long again. Absolutely I would. And of course my stop loss would be at about $34. Anything under $34, I'm scared and I'm running away from it. But around 36.50, yeah, I'm interested. So that's SMCI. That was one of the plays that I wanted to bring today. I had a huge day, so I'd be looking tomorrow to see, is it going to come back down? Is it going to breathe a little bit? Is it going to flag and then go higher? We'll keep an eye on it, but I played that quite successfully today. VRT. Vertiv, let me turn off some of these drawings, is getting above the 50-day moving average today and above the 30. So if it can hold above 122 tomorrow, I'd be looking at Vert to start filling in this big gap over here and potentially go back up to about 150. Okay, so watch that as well. ACMR, this one, oh man, I called this one back here so many times on the channel. I don't know if anyone's paying attention to ACMR, but it came down here. I actually missed this one because I was doing other things, but yeah, it broke this trend line here, and as soon as it broke that trend line, all the way up to my box there, hit my box, and now it's running into some resistance there. But if you had caught that move from when it broke to where it is, that was a 50% run. 50% run. And I've been covering this one for a while. I've been covering it since before I started doing this drop here. And I drew that line. I was like, once it breaks that line, it's going to go up. And then it broke that line and it went up, and I wasn't actually paying attention at that time. So, oh well, that sucks. Let's take a look at one more. LRCX, Lam Research. This is a semiconductor stock. It's in the SOXL bag there. I've got a lot of drawings. I'm going to turn those off for now because they're not helpful. So here's what we're looking at here. So we went from red to green, right? And then we went to red again, but now we're back at green. So right now, LRCX, we're waiting for it to cross that 200-day moving average at 84.51. It crosses 84.51 with volume, which it looks like it's ready to do. It does that with volume. We could find this thing up to like 95. Maybe even back up to 100. It might even want to go up and fill this gap up here to 106. So LRCX, put that one on your radar and watch that one nice and close. What else am I looking at right now? There's a couple. SOXL, I am still in SOXL. Had a decent update at 3.8% up. We're still red here though, so we are waiting. If I go to like a not 3-day, if I go to like a 2-hour, the 2 hours not quite there yet. Once the 2-hour flips from red to green, I'm going to be a lot more interested in going a little heavy again. But right now, yeah, it's still kind of in that holding pattern. I really want to see this thing get over 30 bucks. And once it crosses that 50-day, like we got room all the way up to 40, potentially even higher once we get there. AMD had a decent day today. We didn't have the greatest volume, but the BX trender is printing a light red there, and we are getting, we're almost yellow on green. We're trying. We're not quite there, but we're trying for AMD. Okay. Qualcomm, after that failed earnings, we're back at the bottom of the flag. Okay. BX trender is red on red. Stochastics are going sideways. So honestly, once Qualcomm beats its 200-day moving average, which is at 175.68 right there, once it conquers that, it's done with this consolidation. And when it's done with this consolidation, it's going to run back up into this resistance up here, which starts about to 198 and goes all the way up to the resistance, the heavy resistance, to about 213. And if we cross above 213, it's going to go way higher. But once we're above 175.68, we've got room all the way up to 198 before we really run into any resistance on Qualcomm. So pay attention to Qualcomm as well. That's another one that's really interesting. Now, here's some other ones. Oh yeah, PDD. Today, PDD crossed from red to green on this little indicator right here. Let me get that so you can see it. Red to green. That's one to watch. We're above the 50-day moving average. We've been crawling up. We might come back and touch the 100-day moving average, and watch out for the 200-day moving average up at 122.90. But if we do a little pullback down to the 100 at 113 to 122.90, that's like a $10 move. That's not bad. So PDD, it's Chinese stock, but keep your eyes on PDD, especially since you see up here, BABA did 7.5% today. The Chinese stocks, when they move. So we're paying attention to this one right now. PDD, it's flipping from red to green. That could be a very interesting thing. Last time it did that was back here when it flipped from red to green. And how much did it move up? Let's see, where did it go? Right there. Okay, so it was, after it flipped, it was only like a 7% move, but could be worse. Could be worse. But I am watching it. I'm watching it very closely. Let's take a look at SOFI. SOFI is very interesting right now because SOFI, off of this low to high move here, came back, tapped the 786 and bounced. 786 being at $14.67. So basically, the way I see SOFI right now is anything under $15 is cheap. Well, anything under $14.50 is cheap. It's cheap, and that's the way I'm going to view it until 1467 breaks. And then once 1467 breaks, I might let it go and see if it finds a base around 1365, maybe lower. Okay, so hit that. That's generally the institutional buy line. And if it drives it back up higher, well then, there you go. If it goes lower, any lower than 1467, well then, it might be time to let it go and see where it lands. Let's take a look. Oh yes, HIMS is very interesting to me right now. I'm very interested in getting some shares of HIMS, but I want it to be a little cheaper. I think it's a little too expensive right here. It's right at this line, this extended fib line. I really would like to see it come back down to about $35. I'd like to see it drop about $9, $10 before I'm interested in HIMS, but I am watching HIMS. Okay, that's on the radar. Is there anything else that was like super interesting that I wanted to talk about? Not really. That's all I think I've got for you today. MicroStrategy having a bit of a disappointing day, printing that doji. Coinbase looking a little more promising than MicroStrategy, but not by a whole lot. We've got IREN looking like it is shaping up to have an excellent earnings move here for the week. I will be looking to trim some of my IREN after earnings. I am expecting the move to be significant enough for me to want to lock in at least my cost basis and let the rest run. I have been picking up some cryptos. Like I said, I picked up some SUI. I've picked up some XRP. I am watching Doge. I'm still Looking at AMD SOXL, I am now looking specifically at LRCX because of that cross up. VRT, I'm watching very closely. SMCI, I'm also watching very closely. Palantir's a beast. Just have to throw that in there. HIMS is another one on my radar as well. So anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.